Hey friends, welcome back to TalkMate English. Today, I want to share with you a way to truly transform your English listening and speaking skills. And it's something simple, something you can do every single day. We're going to talk about the power of daily practice, and I'll give you practical tips, step-by-step guidance, and exercises you can use right now to get better at understanding and speaking English. You see, improving your English is not about studying for hours once in a while. It's about building a rhythm, a habit, where English becomes part of your life every single day, even in small moments. Think about the last time you tried something new. Maybe it was learning to cook a recipe, play a song on the guitar, or use a new app. The first time it felt strange, slow, and maybe even a little frustrating. But the more you repeated it, the smoother it became. That's exactly how your brain learns languages. The more you give it small, repeated doses of English, the more natural and automatic it becomes. Daily practice builds familiarity, and familiarity builds fluency. So let's begin with the listening side of things. Good listening skills are the foundation of good speaking skills. If you don't understand the sounds, rhythm, and patterns of English, it's harder to speak clearly yourself. That's why I always tell learners, spend at least a few minutes every day listening to natural English. It could be a podcast, a YouTube video, a conversation recording, but the key is to listen actively, not passively. When you listen actively, you pay attention to intonation, stress, and pauses. You notice how words connect, how native speakers shorten or blend sounds. Here's a practice exercise for you. Take a short English clip, maybe just 30 seconds. Play it once without reading any subtitles. Just focus on the sounds, even if you don't catch every word. Then, play it again. This time pausing after every sentence and repeating what you hear. Try to copy not just the words, but the exact way the speaker says them. If they go up at the end of the sentence, you go up. If they pause for a moment, you pause too. This is called shadowing, and it's one of the most powerful ways to improve both listening and speaking together. Now, speaking is where most learners feel nervous. Maybe you worry about making mistakes, or maybe you struggle to find the right words quickly. The truth is, the more you speak, the faster you get past those fears. And daily speaking practice doesn't mean you need a conversation partner every single time. You can practice by yourself. One of my favorite ways is thinking aloud in English. For example, while you're cooking, describe what you're doing. I'm cutting the onions now. They're very fresh. Now I'm adding them to the pan. It might feel silly at first, but it forces your brain to form sentences in real time. Here's another exercise you can try right after this video. Choose a simple topic, like my morning routine, or my favorite food. Set a timer for 2 minutes. Then speak nonstop in English for those 2 minutes. Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just keep talking. If you get stuck, use simple words or describe the thing you can't remember. This builds your fluency muscle because it teaches you to keep going even when your brain hesitates. Daily practice also means surrounding yourself with English in little ways. Change your phone language to English. Write your shopping list in English. When you think about your plans for tomorrow, try to think in English. These small moments add up quickly. Your brain starts to adapt and you'll find yourself reaching for English words more naturally. Another important part of daily practice is reviewing what you've learned. Learning something once is not enough. Your brain needs reminders. So, at the end of each day, take a few minutes to go over a phrase, a sentence, or a pronunciation you practiced earlier. Say it out, loud 3 or 4 times, slowly and clearly. Then try saying it faster, more naturally. This not only strengthens your memory, but also helps you sound more confident. And here's a little secret. Progress feels slow day to day, but it becomes huge over time. Imagine you improve just 1% every day. In a month, you'll be noticeably better. In 6 months, you might surprise yourself with how naturally you can hold conversations. And in a year, people might not even believe you once struggled with English. When you practice every day, you're not just training your mouth and ears, you're training your confidence. And confidence is often the missing piece for many learners. Think about it. You can know the grammar rules. You can know hundreds of words, but if your voice hesitates, if you doubt yourself mid-sentence, your speech doesn't flow. The only way to truly fix that is by speaking so often that it stops feeling like a big deal. Let's do a little self-practice. Right now, imagine you've just met a new colleague or classmate. Smile, look them in the eyes and say, "Hi, my name's Adam. Nice to meet you. How's your day going?" Simple, right? Now let's make it a little longer. "Hi, my name's Adam. I'm from Pakistan. I work as an English coach. What about you? Where are you from?" You see how that small expansion makes the conversation warmer and more engaging? Daily speaking doesn't need to be fancy. In fact, the simpler, the better. If you overcomplicate your sentences, you might end up stuck. Instead, focus on short, clear sentences and link them naturally. For example, "I went to the park today. The weather was beautiful. I saw some kids playing football and it reminded me of my school days." This way, you're practicing connecting ideas without feeling stressed about long grammar structures. Another powerful daily habit is the one new phrase challenge. Every morning, choose one new phrase in English that you will use at least 3 times that day. Let's say today's phrase is, "I'm looking forward to it." Maybe you can use it when talking about dinner plans, an upcoming movie, or a weekend trip. By the end of the day, that phrase will feel like it belongs to you. Listening practice can also be blended into your daily life easily. For example, while you're making tea or coffee, play a short piece of English audio. Don't just let it play in the background. Focus on it. Ask yourself, what's the main idea? Which words or expressions stand out? Could I repeat one of those sentences myself? This kind of mindful listening helps you absorb the rhythm of English without needing to sit at a desk with a textbook. Here's another exercise for listening and speaking combined. It's called pause and predict. Play a video or audio clip, but every 10 seconds, pause it and try to predict what the speaker will say next. Even if you're wrong, this forces you to think in English and follow the speaker's train of thought. It's a fun way to train your brain to stay alert during conversations. Daily practice doesn't always have to be formal. Sometimes the most progress happens when you're relaxed. For instance, while walking, try naming the things you see in English. There's a bicycle. A red car just passed. The sky looks cloudy today. I think it might rain later. You're training your mind to label the world in English without translation. That's how you start thinking directly in the language. And speaking of thinking directly in English, let's talk about how to break the habit of translating from your native language. One way is to train with visual prompts instead of words. Look at a photo and describe it in English without first translating from your language. If you see a picture of a busy street, you might say, "People are walking quickly. A man is carrying a bag. There's a cafe in the corner." The key is to react instantly without pausing to translate in your head. The magic of daily practice is that over time these little habits pile up. One day you'll be in a real conversation and without thinking, the right words will just come out. You'll realize that you're not mentally preparing sentences anymore. You're just speaking. That's the moment fluency starts to feel real. When we think about fluency, many learners imagine it's about speed, speaking quickly, answering immediately. But true fluency isn't about speed at the start, it's about clarity and flow. If you rush, you may trip over your words or lose your train of thought. Instead, slow down. Give yourself space to think. And allow your sentences to breathe. Ironically, the more comfortable you become with pauses, the more natural and confident you sound. Let's try an exercise for this. Pick a simple topic like my weekend. Speak about it slowly, focusing on pronunciation and clarity. On Saturday, I woke up early. I went for a walk in the park. The air was fresh, and there were birds singing everywhere. Feel each word, don't hurry. Don't. You might notice that slowing down actually helps you remember vocabulary more easily. Daily practice should also focus on pronunciation, not just the sounds of individual words, but also how words connect. In real English, we don't say each word separately like a robot. We link sounds together. For example, instead of "I want to eat," a native speaker might say, "I want to eat." Instead of "going to the store," they might say, "gonna the store." You don't need to copy every informal style, but understanding and practicing these connections will make listening easier and your speech more natural. Here's a quick pronunciation drill. Say this sentence slowly first. I'm going to meet my friend later. Now say it the way it might sound in casual conversation. I'm gonna meet my friend later. Repeat both versions a few times so your ear and your mouth learn the difference. This is how you train your brain to understand native speakers and also sound more natural yourself. Another daily tip is to use mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and speak for 2 minutes about anything. Watch your facial expressions, your mouth movements, and your confidence level. Sometimes we don't realize how our face affects the way we speak. Smiling, for example, naturally opens your mouth more and helps you produce clearer sounds. To make your daily practice more engaging, add variety. If you always practice the same way, your brain gets lazy. One day you might focus on describing things around you. Another day, you might repeat lines from a movie or TV show. Another day, you might practice storytelling, explaining something that happened to you in the past. This variety keeps your brain alert and improves different parts of your English skills. Let's do a storytelling practice together. Think of something simple that happened to you recently, maybe yesterday or last week. Now, tell the story in English. Yesterday, I went to the market. I bought some fresh vegetables. I saw my friend there. We talked for a few minutes about our weekend plans. Once you've told it once, tell it again, but add more detail. Yesterday, I went to the market around 10 a.m. The sun was warm, and the streets were busy. I bought fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, and some herbs. While I was choosing vegetables, I saw my friend Ali. He was buying apples. We stood near the fruit stand and talked for about 5 minutes about our weekend plans. Adding details like this trains you to expand your sentences and hold a listener's attention. Listening skills can also be improved with dictation practice. Find a short audio clip in English, listen to 10 seconds of it, then pause and write down exactly what you hear. Then, play it again and check if you got it right. This trains your ears to pick up details and helps you notice small pronunciation differences you might miss otherwise. And don't forget repetition. If you want a word or phrase to feel natural, you need to repeat it. For example, if you're learning the phrase, "It's been a while," use it in at least 3 different sentences today. It's been a while since we met. It's been a while since I cooked pasta. It's been a while since I watched a good movie. Repetition turns new knowledge into instinct. Remember, your goal with daily practice isn't to be perfect. It's to be consistent. Even 10 minutes a day is powerful when done every single day. Think of it like watering a plant. A little water every day keeps it alive and growing. If you wait too long and then give it a huge amount, it might still survive, but it won't thrive as beautifully. Your English works the same way. One of the best ways to make your daily English practice more effective is to tie it to activities you already do. This way, you're not creating extra time. You're using the time you already have in a smarter way. For example, if you cook dinner every evening, you can describe each step in English. I'm washing the rice. Now I'm chopping the onions. I'm turning on the stove. These simple sentences may seem basic, but they build the habit of thinking in English without needing a classroom. Another way to integrate English into your routine is to combine it with movement. When you go for a walk, talk about what you see, hear, and feel. The road is quiet today. I can hear the sound of leaves in the wind. A bus just passed by and the driver waved at me. Walking while speaking helps you feel more relaxed and can reduce the pressure you sometimes feel when sitting still and practicing. You can also create little English zones in your home. Maybe your kitchen can have sticky notes with English words for objects: fridge, plate, spoon, cupboard. Or your mirror can have a new phrase of the day written on it. Every time you see it, say it aloud. This turns your environment into a living English classroom. Let's do a describe and expand exercise together. Look around your room right now and choose one object, maybe your phone. First, just name it, phone. Then add a detail. This is my phone. Then add more. This is my phone. It's black. I bought it last year. I use it to call my family and watch videos. By adding details step by step, you practice building longer sentences naturally without pressure. Daily listening practice can also be done in micro moments. For example, when you wake up in the morning instead of checking social media. In your native language, spend 2 minutes listening to an English weather update or a short news clip. These little bursts of exposure prepare your ears and brain for English right at the start of the day. Another powerful activity is role play, practice. This is where you imagine a real-life situation and practice what you would say. For example, imagine you're at a cafe ordering coffee. You could say, "Hi, can I have a cappuccino, please?" Then imagine the barista asks, "Would you like sugar with that?" You respond, "Yes, please, just 1 spoon." By practicing these small exchanges, you'll feel more confident when they happen in real life. Let's try a role play now. Imagine you're at a shop and want to buy a shirt. You say, "Hi, do you have this shirt in medium size?" The shop assistant says, "Yes, let me check. Here you go." You respond, "Great, can I try it on?" The shop assistant says, "Sure, the changing rooms are over there." You reply, "Thank you, I'll let you know if it fits." Practicing both sides of the conversation helps you prepare for real interactions. One of the things learners often forget is that speaking is also about listening. If you only focus on what you're going to say next, you might miss important details in what the other person is saying. So, practice listening with the goal of understanding, not just answering. After listening, try repeating back what the person said, either in your own words or exactly as they said it. This confirms your understanding and trains your memory. You can also combine speaking practice with recording yourself. Use your phone to record a short 1-minute talk on any topic. Then, listen to the recording. Notice if you sound clear. Check if your sentences flow. You might hear mistakes you didn't realize you were making while speaking. This feedback loop is one of the fastest ways to improve. And remember, mistakes are not the enemy. They are proof that you're learning. Every mistake you make and correct is one step closer to fluency. So don't be afraid to try, even if you're not 100% sure about the grammar or the vocabulary. It's better to speak imperfect English than to stay silent, waiting for perfection. If you want your English speaking and listening to improve. Quickly, one of the most important things is building comfort with everyday conversation topics. The more familiar you are with talking about daily life, the easier it is to join in real discussions. Let's take the topic of food, for example. You can practice describing what you ate today. For breakfast, I had toast with butter and a cup of tea. The toast was crispy and warm. The tea was sweet and strong. You can then add more details or feelings. I really enjoyed my breakfast today because it reminded me of my childhood. These little expansions make your sentences richer and help you express yourself more naturally. Daily practice can also be made more powerful by adding a question challenge to your routine. Every day, think of 3 new questions you could ask someone in a conversation. For example, what's your favorite book? Do you prefer coffee or tea? What do you usually do on weekends? Then practice answering your own questions out loud. This way, you learn to both ask and answer in English, which is exactly what real conversations require. Another great way to combine listening and speaking practice is to use the repeat and change method. First, listen to a short sentence from an English source. Repeat it exactly as you hear it. Then, change it slightly to talk about your own life. For example, if you hear, "I'm going to the gym this evening," repeat it. Then change it to, "I'm going to the park this evening," or "I'm going to cook dinner this evening." This forces you to pay attention to sentence structure while making it personal. It's also helpful to practice giving short, clear answers. In many conversations, especially with native speakers, answers are quick but complete. If someone asks, "How was your day?" you could just say, "Good." But that's too short to keep the conversation alive. Instead, add a little extra, "It was good. I went for a walk and cooked a nice meal." This gives the other person something to respond to, and it keeps the flow going. Let's do a practice conversation together. Imagine I ask you, "How's your week been so far?" You could say, "It's been busy. I've had a lot of work, but I also managed to relax in the evenings." Now, if I ask, "What did you do to relax?" You might say, "I watched a few movies and read a book before bed." These short exchanges, built with a bit of extra detail, make your speaking more interesting and natural. Another skill to develop is reacting naturally to what someone says. In English, conversations often include small reactions that show you're listening. Words like "really?" "That's great," "Oh, I see," "Wow, that's interesting." Practicing these small responses helps you sound engaged and makes the conversation feel warmer. For example, if someone says, "I just got back from a trip to Italy," you could respond, "Wow, that's exciting. How was it?" Daily listening can also include focusing on emotions in speech. Try to notice if the speaker sounds happy, tired, surprised, or serious. This skill will help you respond more appropriately. For instance, if you hear someone sounding disappointed, you might say, "I'm sorry to hear that. Do you want to talk about it?" Picking up on emotions makes your conversations more meaningful. To push your speaking even further, practice telling short stories about your day in the past tense. Many learners struggle with past tense fluency, but it's a common part of everyday speech. You could say, "Yesterday I woke up early. I cleaned my room and then I went shopping." Then add details. "Yesterday I woke up early because I wanted to enjoy the cool morning. I cleaned my room, which took about an hour, and then I went shopping for fresh vegetables at the market." These details make your speaking flow and also give you more opportunities to use different grammar forms. And here's a small but powerful tip. End each day with English. Before going to sleep, spend 2 minutes thinking or speaking about your day entirely in English. Go through what you did, what you felt, and what you plan for tomorrow. It's a calm, personal way to keep English active in your mind and strengthen your memory overnight. Another part of daily English practice that many learners overlook is listening to yourself while you speak. I don't mean just recording and playing it back later. I mean being aware in the moment of the way your words sound. When you speak, try to notice if your sentences are clear, if your words are complete, and if your voice is confident. This self-awareness can help you adjust right away instead of waiting until later to correct mistakes. One exercise 4. This is speak and check. Choose a sentence and say it slowly, clearly, and with natural intonation. For example, I'm planning to visit my cousin next weekend. As you say it, pay attention to the way your mouth moves and the way the sentence flows. Then say it again, but with a little more speed. Finally, say it as if you're telling it to a friend in casual conversation. Practicing in these 3 speeds will help you sound both natural and adaptable. Daily English practice also works best when you challenge yourself just a little bit beyond your comfort zone. If you always speak about the same topics, your progress might slow down. Try talking about something you don't usually discuss. For example, if you normally talk about food or hobbies, try explaining how to do something, like how to make tea, how to fix a small household item, or how to plan a trip. When you explain, you're using a wider range of vocabulary and sentence structures. Let's try an explanation practice right now. Imagine someone asks you how to make an omelet. You could say, "First, you beat the eggs in a bowl. Then you heat some oil in a pan. Pour in the eggs and cook them for 2 minutes. Fold the omelet in half and serve it." Notice how giving instructions makes you organize your thoughts clearly and logically. Another tip for fluency is to use more connecting words. Words like because, so, but, and, then make your speech smoother. Without them, your sentences might sound short and disconnected. For example, instead of saying, "I stayed home, I was tired," you can say, "I stayed home because I was tired." This tiny change makes your English sound more like natural conversation. You can turn this into a daily exercise by taking simple sentences and combining them. For example, "I like tea. I drink it every morning" becomes "I like tea, so I drink it every morning." Or, "It was raining. I took an umbrella" becomes "It was raining, so I took an umbrella." By practicing this daily, you'll start connecting ideas without thinking too much. Daily listening can also be interactive. If you watch an English video, pause it every now and then and ask yourself, "What does that mean? Why did they use that word? Or how would I respond if I were in this situation?" This turns listening into an active process instead of a passive one. One more fun method is copy the style. Choose a speaker you like, maybe an actor, a YouTuber, or a podcast host, and try to speak the way they do. This doesn't mean you're copying their accent exactly, but you're paying attention to their rhythm, energy, and way of expressing ideas. Over time, this will make your speech more dynamic and expressive, and don't forget to celebrate small wins in your daily practice. Maybe you understood a sentence in a movie without subtitles. Maybe you had a short conversation with a stranger in English. These moments are proof that your practice is working. When you notice them, you feel more motivated to keep going, and motivation is what will carry you through the days when practice feels hard. So, to keep building your skills, remember this simple formula. A little listening, a little speaking, a little review, every single day. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up, using English, and making it part of your life. Sometimes the reason people struggle with speaking and listening is not because they lack vocabulary or grammar, it's because they hesitate too much. Hesitation happens when you overthink every word before saying it. One way to overcome. This is to train your brain to keep going, even if you're unsure about the exact word. You can replace the missing word with a description or a simpler synonym. For example, if you can't remember the word umbrella, you can say, the thing you use when it rains. This keeps the conversation moving and shows that you can communicate even without perfect vocabulary. Let's practice that skill right now. I'll give you a situation, and you try to describe something without naming it directly. Imagine, you're in a store and you can't remember the word scarf. You could say, I'm looking for something you wear around your neck when it's cold. Practicing this daily makes your speaking more flexible and reduces your fear of getting stuck. Another important part of daily practice is building your go-to phrases. These are short, useful sentences that you can use in many situations. For example, that's interesting. Could you repeat that, please? I'm not sure, but I think, or let me think for a moment. These phrases give you time to think while still keeping the conversation alive. If you too make a list of 10-15 such phrases and use them daily, you'll notice a big improvement in your confidence. Speaking and listening are also about rhythm. Every language has its own natural rhythm, and English is no different. English often has a stress-timed rhythm, meaning some words are said more strongly and others more softly. Listening to music, poetry, or even speeches in English can help you feel this rhythm. Then, when you speak, try to copy it. For example, in the sentence, I'd like a cup of tea, please. The main stress is on like, cup, and tea. Practicing this makes your speech easier to understand. Here's a rhythm practice you can do. Take a short sentence like, I'm going to the market tomorrow. Clap or tap your hand on the table for the stressed words. I'm going to the market tomorrow. This may seem strange at first, but it trains your ear and mouth to work together. Daily listening can also be improved by focusing on chunks of language, not just single words. For example, instead of learning by and the way separately, you learn by the way as one piece. This is how native speakers think. They don't build sentences word by word, they recall ready-made chunks. The more chunks, the faster you can speak. You can collect them from anything you listen to and try to use at least one new chunk each day. Another useful exercise is 3 ways to say it. Take a simple idea and say it in 3 different ways. For example, I'm tired could become, I feel tired, I'm exhausted, or I could use some rest. This expands your flexibility and helps you avoid repeating the same words all the time. And if you want to make your daily practice even more engaging, try speaking with emotion. Don't just say the words. Say them as if you truly feel them. For example, say, I'm so happy with real joy in your voice. Or say, I'm disappointed with a tone that matches the meaning. Emotion makes your English more expressive and easier for others to connect with. Finally, remember that the most successful learners don't wait for the perfect moment to practice. They use whatever time they have. While cooking, walking, waiting for the bus, or even before sleeping, they find a way to bring English into their day. If you do this consistently, even small improvements will stack up until one day you realize you've become the confident speaker you always wanted to be. One of the most valuable things you can do for your English journey is to stay curious. Curiosity leads you to ask questions, explore new topics, and notice details in conversations that others might miss. When you hear a new word, don't just move on. Pause and think about it. Ask yourself, what does it mean? How is it used? Could I use it in my own sentence today? This small habit can turn any listening moment into a learning opportunity. You can make your daily practice more memorable by connecting English to your personal interests. If you love cooking, watch recipes in English. If you enjoy sports, follow commentary and interviews in English. When you combine learning with something you already enjoy, your brain naturally pays more attention and remembers better. Let's do a quick personalization exercise right now. Think about something you're passionate about. Maybe it's gardening, technology, travel, or fashion. Say 3 sentences about it in English. For example, I love gardening. I have a small garden at home where I grow tomatoes. It makes me happy to see them grow every day. This way, you're practicing English that's directly relevant to your life, which makes it stick longer. Another great end-of-day habit is the 3-sentence review. At night, before you sleep, say 3 sentences about your day in English. Keep it simple. For example, today was a good day. I learned a new English phrase. I talked to my friend about our weekend plans. If you do this every night, you'll start ending your day with a small but powerful dose of speaking practice. Daily. Practice isn't just about effort. It's about consistency. There will be days when you feel motivated and days when you don't. On those harder days, even 5 minutes of English is enough to keep the chain unbroken. The goal is not to be perfect every day. It's to never stop completely. Every small step keeps you moving forward. And here's something I've seen many learners experience. At first, it feels like nothing is changing. You practice, but you don't notice much progress. Then, one day, without warning, you find yourself understanding a conversation more easily or speaking without pausing to think. This is the result of all those small daily moments of practice adding up quietly in the background. So, as you move forward, remember, English fluency is not built in a single day, but it is built every day. Your listening will improve as you hear more natural speech. Your speaking will improve as you give your voice the chance to form sentences. And your confidence will grow as you make English a natural, effortless part of your life. If you've followed along with this lesson, you've already taken a big step today. You've listened, you've practiced, and you've learned new ways to bring English into your daily routine. Now it's up to you to keep that habit alive. Practice tomorrow, practice the day after, and keep going until English feels like second nature. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'm proud of every small effort you've made. If you found this helpful, I'd love for you to join me again in our next session, where we'll continue building your skills and your confidence. And if you haven't already, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. That way, you'll always know when a new lesson is ready for you. Every video we do is another step forward on your journey to fluency, and I'd be so happy to have you learning alongside me. Until next time, keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep believing in yourself. You're on the right path.